Live shouted, man. What's good? Let me get my shit straight. You know, I gotta get my shit set up straight. Hold on, let me see here. Another one. Contender regime boxing. Checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? You know, had to hop on here one time, man. Chop it up with y'all boys. You feel me? Hot topic going on in these boxing streets right now. You know, Jermell Charlo, got everybody in uproar right now. You know what I'm saying? Jermell Charlo got the whole boxing world going crazy right now. Shout out to the brother Brian Custer as well, man. Always been a fan of his show, his podcast. I told y'all, man, Brian Custer does some of the best interviews, man. I've always been a fan. And he just allowed Jermell Charlo to talk. You know. Shout out to the brother Phil J508 in the building. What's good? And I appreciate you for pulling up, bruh. You know, he just allowed Jermell Charlo to talk, you know, candidly. That's one of the best things, man. Some people, when you interview them, you just got to let them speak. You know what I'm saying? You just got to let them speak, bro. You know what I'm saying? He trying to end an interview, Jermell Charlo, like, nah, I give you more time. What's good? I got more to say. You know what I'm saying? I got more to say. Shout out to the brother Sterling Jameson in the building. Say Charlo stops Bud in 6. Man, I can definitely see that, dog. I really don't. Man, I really don't think that's a good deal for Terence Crawford. I don't think that's a good move for him. But I am one of those guys and one of those fans that like to see fighters dare to be great. You know, if fighters want to dare to be great, I'm not gonna try to stop them and shit like that. But I'm just saying right offhand, I gotta roll with Jermell Charlo in that fight, man. Just based off of Terence Crawford's style recently. Shout out to the brother Corbin Phoenix in the building. Said let me call in. I'm not doing the stream yard right now. I'm gonna get that going again ASAP though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that going again ASAP. You feel me? But shout out to my brother Walter Lee in the building. What's good? Shout out to the brother Southpaw 773 TV in the building. What's good with you, my boy? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Terence Crawford, that's not a good move for him. But I have to say that fight is fascinating. I must say it is an intriguing matchup. Because of course you got Terence Crawford, who is an extremely skilled fighter, and it will be exciting to see him go up to a new weight class and fight the best fighter at 154. You know what I'm saying? He said, said I'll fight any Canelo fan. Real talk. hey, bro. I hope you beat all their ass, man. Hey, bro, be on Canelo head, man. Hey, go ahead, man. You see one knock their ass out, man. Nah, man. Say Canelo got some toxic ass fans. Not all of them, but most of them toxic as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know. But yeah, bro. That's an intriguing fight. It's interesting. It's interesting. And I like that Jermell Charlo, it seemed like he got that energy again. And this would be especially a bad time for Terence Crawford to try to fight Jermell Charlo. This would be a bad time. Jermell Charlo going into a rematch. He wasn't going into that first fight with this same mentality. Jermell Charlo didn't go in that first fight talking like this. The way he talking and moving right now is how he was in the Tony Harrison rematch. You dig what I'm saying? The way he moving right now, it seemed like he got that energy from the Tony Harrison rematch. You feel me? He got that energy from the Tony Harrison rematch. If I'm Terence Crawford, I don't want no problems with Jermell Charlo right now. I would stay far and far away from him, especially in his own weight division. Said Bud got more skill than Jermell, but Spence fight got to happen first. Yeah, Terence Crawford is overall a more skilled fighter. I will agree to that. But I don't think I think his skill can translate in another division, but stylistically, it ain't going to work with Jermell Charlo. I'm going to tell you why. He going to give Jermell Charlo all the time in the world to think. That's a bad deal. If you give Jermell Charlo time to think, and control the pace of the fight, especially you a smaller guy coming up. And I don't believe that Terence Crawford will be able to take Jermell Charlo's power. And he's gonna get touched because of his offensive prowess and his just aggression. You know, that's his identity. His offense is everything for Terence Crawford. I just don't see him going through that fight without getting touched with something big. He's gonna try to exchange with Jermell Charlo, and he gonna get hit with something bad. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get hit with something bad, and it ain't gonna end well for him. You know, Terence Crawford gonna try to sit back and counter and use his speed, which is the smart thing to do as far as using his speed. You the smaller guy going up. But the thing is, Jermell Charlo got very good speed as well. And he got size and power. It's just not a good matchup for him, man. It's really not a good matchup. You know, I think Jermell Charlo gonna end up either catching him mid-range in an exchange or get him on the ropes, and it's gonna be bad for him. Yeah, he way too big for him, man. Way too big. He way too big. Shout out to the brother Johnny Chavez in the building. What's good? Said that Charlo power different. Yeah, it's different. Especially like he knocking out. I think Rosario can fight, even though Rosario kind of chinny. I think Rosario can fight at 160 easy, maybe even 168. Tony Harrison can easily fight at 160, 168. I mean, when he hits guys, and he's hitting bigger guys too. You know what I'm saying? I just really can't see Terence Crawford going up there and going 12 rounds with Jermell Charlo. And he would, if he was to do that, he would have to do what he did versus Victor Postal ×2. Like, he would have to be extremely sharp and extremely disciplined to be able to get through 12 rounds with Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? It's not because he lacked the skills. It's just stylistically, you know, styles make fights. I judge fighters by their skill, but when we start talking about matchups, then you got to take the styles into consideration. You know what I mean? And you going up in weight is going to be tough. And you fight the #1 guy at that division. You know what I'm saying? But, man, I really enjoyed Jermell Charlo's interview. You know, I really enjoyed Jermell Charlo's interview. Shout out to the brother Steven in the building. What's good, my boy? Appreciate you for pulling up, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody coming through. You feel me? I really enjoyed that interview, man. Jermell Charlo spoke on a lot of shit. You know, he spoke on Jermell Charlo and his inability to secure big fights, not being able to secure the Canelo fight. You know, he talked about 147, what he expects to see from, you know, Keith Thurman, saying that the Keith Thurman performance versus Barrio wasn't enough. He need to see more. Talked about how Terence Crawford need to focus on Errol Spence, which I agree with that. You know, I think Spence versus Crawford is a priority. So I'm not an advocate for Terence Crawford going up to fight Jermell Charlo before the Spence fight. After he fights Spence, if he fight Earl and he beat Earl, I'm all for it. Go up to 154 and be great. You know, go get undisputed at 154. You know what I'm saying? But before that, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You put the fight in jeopardy and you put your career in jeopardy. I made a video on this and I posted it in the community. I made a video on this about a year ago when that whole Terence Crawford and Jermell Charlo beef, you know, first started to spark up. And I still have those same sentiments, man. I just don't think it's a good matchup for Terence Crawford. You know what I mean? It's a hard matchup. And I mean, you look at Brian Castano, he's not a very big guy, but stylistically, it allows him, at least in that first fight, with Jermell Charlo fighting how he chose to fight. Stylistically, he was able to give Jermell Charlo some issues. A lot of pressure, a lot of activity, you know, punches and bunches, and he had a good strategy with taking half of a round off and then fighting in spurts, going crazy in the second half of the round and doing that to really keep the judges engaged and making it look like he's winning rounds. And he was actually winning rounds. It was a very close fight. But stylistically, Brian Castano, man, he throws a lot of punches, a lot of activity, got good power, got a really good chin on him. That's not Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has been very conservative. He's, like I said, I really don't see Terence Crawford being able to up his volume of punches overnight like that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see that, especially then going up to a higher weight. Nah, I don't see him doing that. and he would have to have more activity than he has to be able to beat Jermell Charlo. He's not gonna be able to just sit back and counter shot and let Jermell Charlo think, let Jermell Charlo dictate the pace, because he's gonna end up getting caught. Shout out to the brother Sean T in the building. What's good? Said Charlo will break Crawford down, break Crawford in half. Big facts. Big facts. Said I think Bud's power will carry up. I think his power would too. Bud can legitimately hit. Like, he got good power. He got good power. And I think his power will carry up. I don't necessarily think he gonna hurt Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I don't think he'll hurt Jermell Charlo. I think he got enough power to make a guy like Charlo respect him. And then you got to factor in the speed as well, because, that speed is really what make that power go. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't see him being able to make Charlo respect him to the point where Charlo doesn't fight, within his character. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he got enough power that's gonna make Charlo fear him and not be Jermell Charlo. I think he'll go in there and just get out the Terence Crawford. I would love to see Terence Crawford versus Erickson Lubin. If you're gonna go up and do that, shit, that'll probably be a good fight to test your skill or test your ability to fight at that division, Erickson Lubin. You know what I'm saying? We know Erickson Lubin can be a little chinny, but shit, I think he got the power to hurt Terence Crawford. That'll be a good fight for him. Say Crawford starts too slow. That's facts. That's facts. You get in there and you think you just gonna sit back and just wait it all out and then try to turn up late. And again, Jermell Charlo is another one of those guys that if you turn up the level of intensity, Jermell Charlo will match you in intensity. He will match you in intensity. Shout out to the brother James Allen Cooper in the building. What's good? What's good, man? Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Said Bud too little, Lubin would get him. I think that's a great fight, man. What if Bud go up there and we think Lubin chinny because he got knocked out by Jermell Charlo, a legitimate 154 pounder. He got hurt by Terrell Garcia, a big guy in that division. What if Terence Crawford went to 154, he fought Lubin, and he hit Lubin with his best shot and couldn't hurt him? That's possible. Again, it's weight classes for a reason. What if he went up there, he hit Lubin with his best shot, and he couldn't hurt him? I could see that happening. If Terence Crawford can't hurt Lubin, I might have to pick Lubin to win that fight at 154. I ain't gonna lie to you. Lubin can do everything that Terence Crawford can do except switch hit. And he's a southpaw. You know what I'm saying? So, I would love to see that matchup. I think that's a more intriguing matchup. I would love to see Lubin versus Errol Spence or Lubin versus Terence Crawford at 154. Both of those are great fights to me. Shout out to the brother Sheldon Moore in the building. What's good? Said Crawford stops Thurman. I actually agree with that. I got Crawford stopping Thurman for sure. I think he hit Thurman with something to the body. Thurman does definitely have a chance to win that fight. I wouldn't say it's he ain't got no chance or nothing like that. But if I had to pick, I would definitely favor Terence Crawford over Thurman. Shout out to the brother R. West, if I haven't already shouted you out. You know what I'm saying? What's good, man? Appreciate y'all boys for pulling up. Said Bud looks too frail for him, but I'm curious. I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely curious about that fight. I would love to see, if that fight got made tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Hypothetically speaking, if that fight was on the table, I'm not going to be mad at the fight. Jermell Charlo versus Terence Crawford. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't advise that, or I wouldn't push for that fight because we got priority. Spence Crawford, Jermell Charlo, Castano. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't push for that fight, but if that fight was actually on the table, that shit'll be lit. Because it's a very interesting matchup. You got 2 pound-for-pound guys and a guy that was undisputed at 140 going up to fight the very best fighter who is potentially could be undisputed in a couple of months at 154, that's huge, man. That's huge. And then you got the whole storyline of Jermell Charlo being a stablemate of Errol Spence, being coached by the same coach. It's a lot. I mean, you could sell that fight. That's a pay-per-view fight. Jermell Charlo versus Terence Crawford is a pay-per-view fight. But that ain't a fight that that I want to push, though. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Master Khalid in the building. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you for pulling up. Shout out to the brother Caesar T in the building. What's good? Lubin versus Spence will happen. I think so, too. I think Earl Spence, he fights Crawford, after Ugas, provided he beats Ugas, gets in there with Terence Crawford. Let's say he does get past Terence Crawford. You become undisputed at 147. You move up to 154. I think that's a great first fight at 154. Dangerous, but a great first fight. But we already know what type of guy Earl Spence is. He's not really one of those guys that, I need a soft touch, or I need a tune up. You know what I'm saying? I need this, I need that. He's one of those guys that steps straight to the smoke. And it'll be an easy fight to make. Both guys deal with PBC. Both guys are advised by Al Heyman. Well, I believe Lubin is advised by Al Heyman, but I know he fights on PBC shows and shit like that. So, man, those guys, that'll be an easy fight to make and a very intriguing fight. Two southpaws, both got power. I would love to see that. So I really want to see Lubin versus Mel again. Me too. I was watching that fight not too long ago, and I was that round, I was telling my homeboy, I was like, bruh, imagine if that shit went 12 rounds. Like, imagine what we would have seen, because I saw explosion getting ready to happen. I had envisioned so many explosive things happening in that fight. You could just tell how each guy was sizing each other up. There wasn't a whole lot of action in that first round up until the knockout shot, because it was so much mental warfare going on and so much posturing and positioning. And I could tell that they was really feeling each other out. And Jermell Charlo, of course, was waiting for that perfect moment to strike, which he did. And we saw the end result. And I felt like Erickson Lubin was doing the same thing, and people forget. Everybody talk about how Lubin is chinny, a guy get touched once or twice, get knocked out. I think it's understandable that fans and, media, boxing pundits will say, okay, well, this guy is chinny. He got knocked out. Okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? They write guys off like that. They get knocked out. I get it. But then we've also seen him, hurt by Terrell Gausha. We seen him hurt a little bit in the Rosario fight. But I think, instead of really harping on a guy being chinny for getting hurt and surviving, I think you got to give a guy credit for being able to take those shots and then close out the fights like he did in the Gausha fight, like he did in the Rosario fight. I thought that was one of his best performances in the Rosario fight. Got clipped a little bit, but he came back, tough. Put on a great performance. You know what I'm saying? But people forget, with calling him chinny and shit, that this dude got power in both hands. Erickson Lubin can box. He showed us that. I think he's taken more of a boxing approach lately, and it's probably because of the knockout, or maybe he's just trying to show different facets of his game. But don't forget, Erickson Lubin got power in both hands, man. Got power in both hands. Shout out to the brother Vigilante Cato in the building. What's good? Appreciate you for pulling up. What's good? Forever Runway Fashion Line in the building. What's good? Said Crawford's power will increase as he moves up in weight. If Castano can hang with Charlo, oh, hell yeah. For sure, Crawford will. I disagree, man. I disagree because we don't even know if Terence Crawford can beat Brian Castano. Maybe he could. But what's going to happen if Terence Crawford hit Brian Castano and he don't fall? He hit Brian Castano and Castano don't fold. If Castano put that same pressure that he was putting on Jermell Charlo on Terence Crawford, who starts slow in fights, the same pressure that Sean Porter was putting on Terence Crawford, but keep in mind, Brian Castano way fresher. He bigger than Sean Porter. He's stronger than Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? If he was putting, if you put Brian Castano in there with this version of Terence Crawford, I think that's a tough fight for Terence Crawford. And then styles make fights, so you can't say just because Brian Castano hung with Jermell Charlo that Terence Crawford gonna be able to hang with him. I don't really think that's valid. You know, because Terence Crawford's style ain't like Brian Castano. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Stephen Taylor in the building. What's good? Shout out to the Queen Neek J in the building. What's good? Said, oh snap. What's in the cup on this fine Tuesday? You know what I'm saying? Something slight, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? A little celebratory. You know what I'm saying? Champagne and lemonade. You feel me? Something slight. Nothing crazy. A little champagne and lemonade. You feel me? A little brute. You know what I'm saying? A little celebratory drink, man. You know. I had to hop on here and chop it up with y'all, man. You feel me? But said, y'all sleep on Castano. He good. Hey, I've been telling people that. I was saying before the Jermell Charlo and Castano first fight, that was going to be a hard fight. I had people saying that Teixeira was going to beat Castano. No, Castano is a really solid fighter. Very skilled, and he has a motor. A lot of activity. Throws punches and bunches. He got power in both hands. And he got a beard on him. You know what I'm saying? He's not no guy you just finna go in there and just step on like that, especially if you coming up in weight. I think Castano will be a tough fighter for Terence Crawford at 154, let alone Jermell Charlo. Damon Bussy in the building, salute. What's good? 410 Boxing Fanatic in the building. What's good, my brother? Appreciate you for pulling up. I just think calculated pressure mixed with IQ and a chin beats Crawford. Exactly. Such as Spence, Mill, and maybe Bouts. I totally agree. It's about styles, man. When you get to a certain level, I mean, it's always about styles in fights, but especially when you get to a certain level of skills where this guy is highly skilled and this guy is, you know, right there at the same level, you really got to start looking at the stylistic matchup. You can say, well, this guy can do all these things and this guy can do this, but how do their styles mesh with each other? You know what I'm saying? How do they styles match up? You know what I'm saying? You know, what happens when this guy get in this situation? What does he like to do best? What makes him comfortable as a fighter? As opposed to what makes this fighter comfortable? You know, what does he thrive in doing? What type of style does he fight? What's his weakness? You got to look at those things, tendencies and styles when you're doing matchups, especially when you got two fighters that's almost equal in skill, if not equal. You really got to pay attention to the styles at that point. So how do y'all rate Buzz boxing ability though? Because we seen Jermell get outboxed before. That's true, but we saw Jermell get outboxed by a taller, longer guy. Now I know we can say, well, Terence Crawford got abnormally long reach for his size, which is true, but it's different when you fighting a guy like Tony Harrison who can easily fight at 168. You know what I'm saying? It's just different, bro. I'm not sure that Terence Crawford can beat Tony Harrison. I'm just not gonna jump out there and say that Terence Crawford can beat Tony Harrison. I'm just not willing to say that. That's a fight I would have to see. It's a different weight class, man. You know, I think we know that Terence Crawford is skilled. He can definitely box. But at the same time, though, can he outbox Jermell Charlo and stay away from, you know, the left hook of Jermell Charlo? Can he stay away from the straight right? Can he not get clipped by the right uppercut of Jermell Charlo? That's tough. That's tough. I just don't. That's tough, bruh. Eagle City 56 in the building. What's good? Said he can, bro. Tony get lackadaisical and he chinny. It's possible, you know. Tony can get lax in there, but when he's winning the fight and shit like that. But I think if you get a focused Tony Harrison in there, man, that's gonna be a hard fight for Terence Crawford. That's not no easy fight, bruh. Danny Garcia can stop. Come on, bruh. Danny Garcia is not stopping on Tony Harris. Hey, Steven, you be tweaking, bro. You be tweaking, bro. Man, Danny Garcia is not beating Tony Harrison, dog. Come on, bro. I mean, shit, if he land that left hook, you know, that no-look hook, that he might be able to do something, but dog, Tony Harrison is a tough fight for Terence Crawford at 154. I'm telling you, bro. Boxing the Menace in the building. What's good? Said Tony got to get that corner straight. Yeah, real talk. Hey, RIP to his pops, man. You know, he lost his pops not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, RIP. And he didn't look that good in his last fight without his pops neither. So I'm hoping that brother get everything back in order, you know, kind of find his way back in the game, you know, because he's a very skilled fighter. We seen what he brings to the table in both the Jermell Charlo fights, which I thought, you know, the second one was a classic, you know, but I'm going to tell you, bro, I don't think Terence Crawford just finna go up to 154 and just go crazy like that. I don't see it. I think there's some guys that he can beat, but he gonna have to be very strategic on who he chooses to fight. You know what I'm saying? I think he gets stopped by Jermell Charlo savagely. I think the Erickson Lubin fight is dangerous, but a winnable fight for him. You know, Brian Castano, it's a winnable fight, but very dangerous. The J-Rock fight is a winnable fight, but very dangerous. You know, people gonna say, well, J-Rock Cheney. But Cheney versus who? Big ass 154 pounders, not nobody like Terence Crawford. Tay D in the building, what's good? Said fantasy fight, Pryor versus Mayweather, who you got? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I think Floyd could have beat anybody. Anybody below 147 and under, it's hard for me to favor anybody over Floyd. I ain't gonna lie to you. And that's including anybody that I ever seen fight. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me about Sugar Ray Robinson because, you know, no disrespect, but I can't really judge too much off them, you know, them black and white films, bro. It's hard to judge off those. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, shout out to all the OGs that was around to see that shit live and be, you know, boxing was different then. The game has evolved. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that what he was doing at that time was deemed as highly skilled. You know, he was fucking shit up. And the shit was different. They was fighting way more often in harsher conditions and shit like that. So, you know what I mean? But anybody that you want to name under 147, it's hard for me to pick them against Mayweather. It's hard. It's hard. Just me personally. I just think skills pay the bills. If you bring those fighters to today's boxing, I think Floyd will beat them. Because Floyd mastered the game. You know what I'm saying? There's always a chance that somebody like Tommy Hearns or Sugar Ray Leonard or even a Ray Robinson or Aaron Pryor, they can land some crazy shit on Floyd and fuck him up. But shit, first you gotta hit him. And then when you do hit him, he got a chin too. You know what I'm saying? And then if we talking about prime Floyd, he gonna put a beating on your ass too. I don't know. I think Floyd would have outboxed Roberto Duran easy. No cap. You know, I think Floyd would have made that fight. Roberto Duran, he would have made that fight look way easier than what Sugar Ray Leonard did, in my opinion. And Sugar Ray Leonard was a hell of a boxer. You know, outboxer and infighter. Said Duran beats Floyd. I highly doubt that. That would have been. I think he would have made that fight look easy. D Savage in the building. What's good? Said, let's say Danny Garcia versus Kell Brook. I like that. I like Danny Garcia versus Kell Brook. I really like that fight. At 154. Danny Garcia talking about he moving up to 154. You know, Kell Brook, he feels his best at 154. I like that fight. You know what I'm saying? I like that fight. It's a fight that I wanted to see some time ago that I wouldn't be mad if it happened later. You know what I'm saying? Said Sugar Ray fight Duran, fight Floyd. It's on Sugar Ray fight Duran, fight Floyd with a box his head off. Are you saying Sugar Ray fought Duran? You mean like he was he fought his fight? He fought. Oh, I see what you're saying. You said Sugar Ray fought Duran fight. Okay, I got you. And Floyd would have. Yeah, exactly. Now, of course, in the second fight, you know, Sugar Ray, he boxed his motherfucking ears off, made him quit. You know what I mean? Embarrassed him. But I think the first fight, Floyd wouldn't even took that chance. You know what I'm saying? Floyd, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that nobody beats Duran at 35, that's a myth, bro. That's a myth, dog. You know what I'm saying? He was a great lightweight, but that shit a myth. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, bro. He didn't fight nobody on that was like at 35. He didn't fight nobody that was good as a 135-pound Floyd Mayweather. Nobody. Name one fighter who Duran fought at 135 that was as good as prime 135 Mayweather. Nobody. Nobody. There was nobody on that skill level at that time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Roberto Duran didn't fight nobody at 135 better than Floyd Mayweather at 135. Nobody. But it would have been a great fight, though. It would have been a great fight. You know what I'm saying? Ward versus Calzaghe. I got Ward, man. Come on now. Calzaghe was cold, don't get me wrong. But he fought everybody when they was almost out the game. You know what I mean? Calzaghe had them hands, though. No cap. He fought everybody when they was on their last leg, though. Imagine Calzaghe fought a prime Roy Jones Jr., man. He was going to get his ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? He would have got his ass whooped, man. You know. You know what I mean? But, said Eusebio Pedroza. If I got to look him up, bruh, no, dog. I'm going to look him up, though. I'm going to look him up. But if I got to look him up, he wasn't on that level, bro. He wasn't on that level, dog. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, shit, it's some good fights that can happen right now, man. Like I said, I want to see Terence Crawford and Errol Spence go ahead and handle their business. You know what I'm saying? And then, shit, if he beat Errol Spence, then you go up there and fight Jermell Charlo. You know, don't go up there fucking up the house money. Don't go up there fucking up the church's money. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't do that. Don't mess your career up, man. Go ahead and try to get in there with Earl because shit, you might not fight again after that Errol Spence fight. I ain't gonna lie to you. Said Floyd versus Sweet Pea. No comment. No comment. That's a hard one, dog. Floyd versus Sweet Pea. That's a tough one. I had to close my eyes and just pick somebody on that one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. I just had to say, cause you can't go wrong, bro. Like it's so much skill in that fight, dog. Elite level, beyond elite. Shout out to the brother Diavian Bob in the building. What's good? You know what I'm saying? Levon Down Gaither in the building. Salute. What's good? Said Esteban De Jesus beat Duran at 135. Duran win the rematch. Said wouldn't even be fair when it wouldn't even been fair. Roy Jones Jr. tears his ass up. Facts, bro. A prime Roy Jones versus Calzaghe, bro. He would have beat the brakes off of Calzaghe, dog. That shit wouldn't even been no match. They would have said he was cherry picking. They would have called him a bum. They would have said Calzaghe wasn't nobody. If he would have fought Roy Jones in his prime, everybody would look back on that fight and been like, who is this Calzaghe guy? You know what I'm saying? You know, but let's not take away from Calzaghe, you know. He retired undefeated. He beat some good guys. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, he didn't beat nobody at the top, though, when they was at the top. Said, I want to see Boots versus Virgil. Hell yeah. That's big facts. Duran Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. We need to be talking about that fight right now. I know everybody on this let's build a fight up shit. It ain't ready yet. They too young, and it's a big fight later down the line. I want to see that fight right now. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with Conor Benn. You know, Conor Benn calling out these old fighters. I want to see these young guys get it in right now. We see the top guys in the division, bro. They trying to handle business. They trying to fight each other and become undisputed. So while that's happening, we need to be seeing Duran Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz, Conor Ben versus Imantas Stanionis. You know, shout out to Stanionis and Butayev. They finna fight. You know, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Some people may pick Butayev in that fight, but I think the consensus would agree that Stanionis is gonna be the favorite in that fight. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see the winner out of that one get, you know, Jerome Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz. You feel me? That's the fight that I want to see. You know? And even though I would favor Boots over Ortiz, that's not an easy fight. Yeah, Boots and Ortiz now and later. Big facts. Why not? There's no, like, nobody can you can't say that if they fight now that the loser is out of the question for good. The fight, they can still do a rematch. They can have a rematch, a possible trilogy. You know, I think that actually, if a fighter loses in that match and they come back later on down the line and become champion again or get back to the top, all that's gonna do is make their profile bigger. And then you do a rematch. That's great. I would love to see that. You know, everybody trying to protect their own now. You know, everybody got strategic business plans now. And, you know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers say, okay, look, boxing a business, now we going to market it this way. You know what I mean? And we going to run through these guys, build my name up, and then I bet. So this the guy that's supposed to be my arch nemesis or the biggest threat. All right, we going to fight you later on down the road. I get it. If we just talking business sense, I get it. So in my opinion, Butayev is a problem. Butayev can fight. I ain't gonna lie. He didn't look that good in the Jermell James fight, though. You know, he put a lot of pressure on Jermell James. I just thought Jermell James fought the wrong fight. You know, you tall and you long and shit, but you fighting all sporadic and loose and crazy on the inside, being you know, very reckless and shit. You know, I felt like he should have tried to box a little bit more. But I mean, Jermell James is one of those guys, kind of like Robert Easter Jr., long but really don't fight long. Sebastian Fundora, long but really don't fight long. I think Jermell James had the wrong game plan in that fight. You're not gonna see a Manchester Stanionis do that. Stanionis, he can box, but he gonna try to fight Butayev, but he gonna do it in a more I think he's gonna use his jab more. I think he'll use range and distance better than Jermell James did. But that's a good fight. Butayev can win that fight. He can win that fight. I think it's really a 50-50 fight, but I would have to favor Stanionis. I just think he got more skill. He got more things that he can do. Butayev is, you know, he remind me of one of those guys like who could I compare him to? You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember Alfredo Angulo? He remind me of somebody like an Angulo. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's just gonna go for broke. Said Butayev made him quit. He did, bro. But that's because Jermell James ain't got no defense, you know, and he fighting all crazy, you know, using them. You got them long ass arms and you trying to fight Butayev fight on the inside, you know. But I mean, shit, you can't take credit away from Butayev. He did his thing. But I don't really rate him that high as far as skill, though. Shout out to the brother Antonio Alexander in the building. What's good? Said, plus they both young and still developing. We can get that fight now and later. Facts. Facts, bro. You know, everybody's scared to lose, though. Vic Vickers in the building. What's good? Ugas might surprise us. He can. Ugas can beat Earl Spence. Will he do it? That's another question, but can he do it? I think he can. Shout out to the brother Garrett Losabi in the building. What's good, man? Said Danny versus Kel heating up. So that's a fight that they actually talking about for real? Danny Garcia versus Kell Brook. Are they actually, like, is that fight really on the table? Said, real talk, I want to see Joe Joyce fight Tyson Fury. Joyce is a big, tough cat, and he carries a hammer. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. Joe Joyce and Tyson Fury. Do y'all think y'all think Dillian White gonna do something versus Tyson Fury? Do y'all think that's a competitive matchup? Dillian White and Tyson Fury? Said Danny's team reached out to Kel's team. So did Thurman's. Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. You know, that's a good fight. That's a hell of a fight. Said, yes, brother, to stay on the title. Shout out to the brother Eric Brooks. He said to stay on the title, Charlo should not be worried about Crawford or any other fight below his weight. He should focus on his weight class. Facts. Yeah, man. That's all I want to see from Terence Crawford. Hopefully he get another fight in between now and when Earl Spence become available. So that way, you know, I'm expecting that fight to the talks and negotiations for that fight to really start kicking up after April 16th. So hopefully he can get a fight in and not go into that fight cold turkey. White gonna stop Fury? Sheldon Moore, you been drinking? Hey, Sheldon Moore, what you drinking, bro? I ain't saying you wrong. I'm curious. What you drinking, my boy? So the thing is, I don't think Thurman willing to move up to 154. Oh, so Danny trying to bring him up. Oh, not Danny, but Keith. Yeah, that's a good point right there because Kell Brook is gonna want to fight at 54. I don't think he can make 47 again. Not healthy. Not healthy. Said Fury cherry picking. Oh man, said listen now, if that happens and White wins, that'll be groundbreaking. Hey, I'll be all for it. If Dillian White knock out Tyson Fury, I'll be the first one. I'll be like, look at God. I'll be the first one standing up in front of the TV going crazy if that happened. But, you know what I'm saying? I think my boy Sheldon Moore been drinking, man. He done said a whole lot of crazy stuff tonight. Said, White always brings a good show, win, lose, or draw. I will say that. He always in a good fight. I'm not impressed with Fury. Look, I'll say this about Tyson Fury. I don't think he's everything that they hype him up to be. But you got to give him some credit because he was able to beat who I think at the time was the #1 fighter at heavyweight, Deontay Wilder. You know, beat him twice. You know, convincingly. So you got to get a man credit for that. And then on top of that, the dude is 6'9", you know, damn near 300 pounds. When he ain't in shape, he's upwards of 300 pounds. You know, he get in boxing shape, he 270. You know what I mean? And he got pretty decent hand speed for his, really good hand speed for his size. He can box, jab, you know, got ring IQ. I mean, Tyson Fury gonna be tough to beat, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, he gonna be tough to beat. And I mean, I don't see Dillian White being the guy to do it, but if he is, mark my words, I will be the first person to get on here and say I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the first one to get on here and say, hey, I was wrong. You know, shout out to Dillian White if he can get it done. Fury versus LeBron. Fury versus LeBron. Man, come on. Hey, for real though, he need to be fighting somebody on that same size, bro. You know, basketball player height, 6'9", 6'10". Hey, fuck it, man. Throw a 7-foot in there. Get Shaq in there. You know what I'm saying? Let Shaq grab him up or something. Said big guys get beat too. That's fact. You right. You right, bro. You not wrong, bro. Like, Dillian White can win. Tyson Fury is not unbeatable. But I don't know if I've seen enough from Dillian White to say that he beats Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? Can't say that I've seen enough to say that he beat. Let me ask you this, Sheldon Moore. Maybe you can enlighten me, because I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I never registered with me with Dillian White beating Tyson Fury, and let alone knocking him out. So look, let me know why you think Dillian White wins that fight. What stands out to you, Sheldon Moore, in White versus Fury? What stands out to you? Yeah, I like Jared Anderson, man. I am a huge fan of Jared Anderson. I think he's really going to bring that flair to the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? He going to pick up where where Deontay Wilder left off, but I think he going to add a whole nother element to it. Of course, he got the power, but, he got the combination punch and the hand speed, good ring IQ. And he got that dog in him. From what we see, we ain't seen him face no adversity yet. But, he got that, from what we see in his current matches, he got that dog in him. He go for the kill. So I think Jared Anderson really going to bring a lot of flair to the heavyweight division. And it's good that we got somebody like that coming up, man. Of course, you got Joe Joyce. I wouldn't even count out Daniel Dubois. He still could be a factor. Frank Sanchez, who they say he's 29, but he looked like he's 40. Efe Ajagba, you still got him out there. You know what I mean? But Anderson, I'm a huge fan of Anderson, man. I think he really got all the tools. I don't know how long Usyk is going to be around, but Usyk is going to be tough to beat, with the skill set that he brings to the table. But Sheldon Moore, man, you got to tell me, bro. You got to enlighten me, bro. Like, tell me what it is about Dillian White that tells you that he matches up well versus Fury. So I can really go, do a deep dive, man. Maybe I'm sleeping on him. Said Munguia stop ducking and fight Boo Boo Andrade. I don't know what Andrade can do to get a fight, bro. Don't nobody want to see that man. I don't know what he can do to get a fight. I do agree with what Jermell Charlo said, though, in the interview. He said, shit, Andrade, he's a great fighter, but he made a lot of bad decisions. He said, we can't even tell we don't even know if we can count on Andrade to accept the fight. He said some real shit, man, but I think at this point, you got to call his bluff. You got to offer that man something. Let's see. They had him lined up with Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders popped dirty. Took that opportunity away from him. Canelo didn't want no smoke at 160. Straight ducked out of Undisputed. He had one fight that he had to fight to become Undisputed at 160. He didn't want no smoke. So I think these guys, man, if you think Andrade is not this and not that, I think they got to start calling this bluff. Let's see. And if he have that same situation that he had back with Jermell Charlo, where he dropped out of the fight, then okay, now we can deem him as that guy. But nah, man, we need to see what's up. I think Andrade really want to fight right now. You know what I'm saying? I think he really want to fight. Said Andrade is being ducked like prime Triple G. Yeah, he definitely being ducked. And I will say at that time when Triple G was when he was running through everything at 160, he was being ducked. Not by everybody, but he was being ducked. And I'll elaborate. You know what I'm saying? Billy Joe Saunders was on national TV. He was on a press conference with Chris Eubank. And he said at the press conference, he told Chris Eubank that Triple G will whoop my ass and your ass on the same night. Billy Joe Saunders said that. He said Triple G will whoop my ass and your ass on the same night. I remember when Triple G was at the height of his game and he wanted to fight Canelo. Canelo didn't want no smoke with him at that time. However, Andre Ward wanted all the smoke with Triple G. Triple G didn't want no smoke with him. You know what I'm saying? Triple G, Andre Ward said, look, you can come up to 168. I believe Andre Ward even offered to meet him at a catch weight. Triple G didn't want no smoke with him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want no smoke with Andre Ward. That's the only guy that I can say that Triple G was ducking. Everybody else was ducking Triple G. That's facts. Even Canelo. But that's the only, Andre Ward is the only fighter that I can say that Triple G ducked at that time. Right now, it don't seem like he won't no smoke with